What's up, builders? Today we're going to talk about OpenAI's Agent Kit. And before we get in here, I've got a bone to pick with the AI influencer bros out there in the world. I cannot wrap my head around why Agent Kit is being compared to N8N and even going as far N8N killer? N8N killer? What what are we talking about here? You mean to tell me the agnostic open source framework where you can connect anything in here and build out the world, the platform that's having an absolute tear. It's in the middle of its WordPress moment, and more businesses are going to keep building on top of this, is all of a sudden going to get displaced by a conversational agent framework? Can you build agents inside of N8N? Yes. We have an AI agent node and we can do things in front of it. But that's only a small fraction of the usefulness of this platform. And it's absolutely wild that a buggy new release framework from OpenAI is going to kill this thing or impact it, or everybody's going to drop ship because it's the best thing since sliced bread. How did GPTs end up being put into production? You see a lot of those out there right now. How about the Assistance API? You see a lot of stuff being built on that right now? No. This is another framework from OpenAI, and it's a good attempt, and there are some nice things in here, but let's not pretend that this is going to impact N8N at all. This is wild. Like, they've got more views than me, so maybe I need better clickbait titles, but let's get into this, because I got to show you a demo, or you're gonna jump, and maybe you already have because you don't like listening to me rant. Anyways, here is Agent Kit combined with ChatKit, which we've got some really clean visual UI elements in here. And this is easily my favorite thing inside of ChatKit, which means that I can take, instead of just standard messages, I can start to craft some really nice high fidelity web elements inside of a chat window. Now, this is a very, very basic, hey, find restaurants in my area type deal that does a web search lookup to Yelp. So if I say, hey, can you find me pizza in Virginia Beach? I'm going to let this run because this is slow. This is not optimized by any stretch of the imagination. Let's get inside of Agent Builder / ChatKit inside of OpenAI. You can see I've been messing around here. This has been out for a couple days. Let's go inside of this restaurant finder. You have a start node. We have this canvas. Looks nice. Drag and drop elements on the left-hand side. Most of the interaction comes from the core agent nodes, which I click this, can title this. This is a restaurant finder. If I click this extend prompt, I get a better window here. You are a helpful assistant. Helps users find restaurants in their location. And I'm letting it know, hey, you have a web search tool. And this web search tool will look at Yelp to get back restaurants. And I've tried to bound it a little bit because this agent, if you do not put some good instructions in here, and this is very, very like elementary, this agent will just go off on a tear. And that's one of my feedback pieces on this is like, what model is this? I got GPT-5 on this thing right now, which is, I just answered my own question. There's too much reasoning going on for some of this stuff with some of these tool calls. But anyways, this is on me to tinker around and figure out what functionality is going on here. Here's the model picker. You have all of OpenAI stuff in here. Reasoning effort is set to low. Tools. Everybody loves tools. That's what makes these agents actually functional and not just your out-of-the-box chatbots. If I click on this plus arrow, I get client tool, which means I can push events client side, which then I can write code on the front end to start handling and do stuff. And I've certainly been doing this in some other applications, 11 Labs, Voiceflow, been used to, crafting these custom conversational experiences that are really high fidelity and nice. So I like that this has a client tool. MCP server. So OpenAI has some stuff out of the box, which is nice. I will tell you, if you come in here and add your own MCP server, I tried to connect this to an N8N MCP, which is why I had this workflow open here. You can see from my executions, I'm hitting the MCP server sometimes. It is so, it's just 400 erroring, like it's not even connecting. So I'm not sure if it's a bug or like I'm like missing something, but it seems, you would think if I was missing something, this just wouldn't work ever. But I'm on like a 15% hit rate on this tool call execution, even showing up on N8N side. So that leads me to believe there's something going on in AgentKit with external MCPs. I hope they get it cleaned up or add some additional documentation to be like, hey, by the way, because I can tell you, like, I can go in 11 Labs right now, scroll down all the way to the bottom, custom MCP server, add server, I'm rolling. Like there's, I don't need to think about anything, right? So that may be like a common theme with some of this AgentKit stuff. Same thing in Voiceflow. If I open up Voiceflow, they have a new MCP tool, like opening it up, add MCP, like I'm rolling. So AgentKit needs some work here. But I'm sure like you're probably going to see some demos of this working with these authorized MCP servers. So I did not do that for this particular example. Let's bounce back. Did my pizza stuff come back? There we go. Pizza in Virginia Beach. Pongo pizza is solid. By the way, they got some really good ice cream. The little one likes it. Anyways, this is, I'm gonna showcase this some more here. All right. So I'm gonna open this in preview tab to also let you see this in real time. So if I do this again, what good pizza spots are in Virginia Beach? I want to walk through like how the agent is processing this. So restaurant finder agent. Okay, searching for restaurants. I need to use web.run with Yelp's domain. So I've added that as a tool call, web search, Yelp. It's going to go back, searching for pizza spots, and it's reasoning with itself as it comes through and gets all of these things. Now, I have a toggle, which I'll show you in a little bit, that says, I do not want you to output anything to the user in chat here. You are just finding restaurants and you're moving on to the next part here. And that's where show restaurant list is going to come through here. And you can see why this process is taking like a decent amount of time. And I don't know if that is a web search tool specific thing. I need to come off of 5 because it's reasoning too much. But I even like, I've watched it like target a one specific restaurant. It's like, oh, I wonder if they have fish tacos or not. And it's like, this LLM is going like, just why? Which surprised me. Here we go. Here are 4 pizza spots in Virginia Beach. Now, this would be the output to the chat if I had this toggled on. Now it's moving to show restaurant list, which is the next agent. And you see the outputs pretty quickly, the structured object. And this structured object is actually what renders the front end element here that you see inside of the application. So let's go. I know I'm bouncing around a lot here. Tend to do that. File search. If you've got all your documents in here already, vectorized by OpenAI, easy peasy. Code interpreter is actually pretty interesting and not something that I have live in production on a lot of like customer facing agents or internal tools for companies types. So there may be some cool combinations here with code interpreter that some of the other conversational agent frameworks and builders and softwares out there don't have. And then once again, your same function schema, similar to that if you have used the OpenAI Assistance API, is also inside of here. Now this output format, I really like, and this is how I'm rendering that front end here. I'm going to show you. You'll see text is pretty straightforward. JSON, widget ChatKit combo here. If I go to my next one, you'll see instead of text, instead of text, I have the output format as this widget, and this widget is titled Yelp Restaurant Cards. If I click it, you can see what the front end element looks like. I love this. I am actually shocked that some of these other applications out there have not done something like this, because it is very, very builder friendly for you to come in here and attach the new widget. So if I was to say, if I wanted to edit this, it opens up the widget builder, which is where I crafted this. And you can see me kind of playing around, like this is more like an e-commerce version here, calendar, like pick a time. You can come in here and explain what you want in this widget. And what it does is it gives you a block component pretty much for you to get this .widget file and then upload it right into the application. And then they handle that on their end, which is great. How I have done this previously in some other applications is you basically get into the conversational workflow and you've got to make a custom extension. And then I have to write the code for that. I have to host the code. I have to do all that stuff on the, on my own application. OpenAI's AgentKit ChatKit combo has this packaged up really, really nicely. I think this is going to be big for them just from a demo purpose, because I think the average builder is going to be able to come in here and put together some real high fidelity stuff pretty quickly, which is good. Okay. What else did I not include here? Tools we went through. Output format. Oh, more. Here we go. So let's go back to Restaurant Finder. You'll notice that in ChatKit, display response in chat. So when I opened a preview, you could see the agent like thinking through it and outputting that stuff. But I'm actually hiding this on the front end from the user, because this is like a pre-processing step. I need you to go use this tool. I need you to go find these restaurants. And then you're just moving down the line to the next guy, basically the next agent who's got this output the way that I want it. So I think there will be a lot of that type of behavior inside of here with the nodes and saying if else, and if you get this response, do this. That is how this particular application works. We want to talk about evaluations. It's got traces. You can look in here and see, okay, I got what's good pizza spots here in Virginia Beach, and you kind of get like a logging of what's going on in the particular agent's interactions. The preview window opens up this sidebar here. And then of course, as you make modifications, you deploy this. Now, let's talk about one of the main differences in how you deploy something in AgentKit versus in ChatKit versus some of these other platforms. All right. Which I think I have that document open. Here it is, ChatKit. All right, so ChatKit requires you to really use the JavaScript SDK, and they've got some documentations. I've got this application running on a Next.js app, which they have a starter. Let's see, that's actual ChatKit.js. Where's the starter build? They have a starter application in here, which I did not pull up. That's on me for not being prepared. There is a starter application. Maybe it's right here. There it is. Got it. So this is the starter app that I deployed. And you got to paste two things in your environment variables here. And number one is the workspace ID, which you get from right here. So you get this workflow ID. And then the second thing you need, obviously, is you need an OpenAI API key. So you have to go through and actually handle a little bit more on the back end than you would to push this chat compared to something like 11 Labs or Voiceflow, because I can just take the agents that I build in 11 Labs and Voiceflow, and I get a script tag, and I can just drop this HTML anywhere on a site. The client's got a WordPress site or a Wix site or whatever. I'm just dropping this HTML in, and you're going to have this nice little voice widget come up and say, what's up?
Hello, how can I help you today?
Perfect. Got this Voiceflow script tag right here. I'm dropping in this chat. I'm dropping in this AI agent. It's got the widget bubble already handled. It's got all of this stuff like prepackaged. I'm dropping this in HTML and I keep moving. For AgentKit, it's not like that. Yes, you get a workspace ID, but you actually have to handle a little bit more. And you could kind of even see it here. I'll zoom in a little bit. This development server for your average like low code, no code dev, you're going to have to do a little bit more hand holding in order to get this online, which brings up something that I think is pretty important, which it comes from like a client management perspective. Like, does the client want to pay for the continual upkeep necessary to keep one of these like moving? Whereas if you do on some of these other like packaged platforms, you don't have the same upkeep that's necessary. Now, you tell me that these front end elements are everything, because I will tell you it is much less development lift to get this kind of styling and functionality and really high fidelity stuff. It might be worth it, but it's something that you need to be aware of and have the appropriate conversations with whoever you're building this stuff for. Like remember that these solutions, you're acquiring technical debt, and organizations are acquiring technical debt when you start to put these things in production. So it's certainly something you need to keep in the back of your mind, that you know what you're doing. There's something else I want to talk about here. Hold on, I'm zoomed in a million. I'm actually going to open up something off screen to see if I can pull up the screenshot. This canvas right now, and look, it's only been open for, a couple of days. I just randomly get locked out of a build. This workflow version violates our high stakes automated decisions policy. Update and publish again to use it. And I've gotten multiple different flags in here from OpenAI that make absolute no sense. Like, I have 2 nodes on the canvas. What high usage policy am I dealing with? And there's another one that came in on like PII. I mean, look at these nodes. This is nothing. This is like, I'm just have little baby builds here and I'm being locked out of previewing and publishing and testing the application. I can tell you that even though I've liked the front end stuff and what I'm testing, it hasn't been like a great experience for me, like inside of here testing things out, just because it just seems like it's buggy. It seems really buggy. So I was hoping for a little bit more on that end. And look, this thing's only been out for a few days, but N8N killer. I gotta, everybody drop everything you're doing and start pushing these in production. I think you're out of your freaking mind. Now, I certainly will continue to keep tabs on what is going on in here, especially if there's more clarity on some of these external MCP servers and hooking into them. That way I can build like the really useful, like functional agents that I know that I have the capability of doing. But other than that, it's certainly nice to see OpenAI finally offer something. But I sit here being a little bit more on the whelmed spectrum as opposed to the overwhelmed spectrum. This does not change the game or should have anybody like sweating like at the moment. Now, OpenAI has some of the brightest minds on the face of the planet working out of their organization, and I know they're going to clean up like a lot of this stuff up. I like the guardrail stuff. This is something that is, and I like the specificity here on moderation, jailbreak break, and hallucination. So I like that they've got a node in here that can handle this with certain stuff. But some of these things are more like this is nice to have and not a, I have to drop everything that I'm doing. And not only that, I've got to start developing more to get a single solution out the door, as opposed to some of the stuff that's already been built out by some of the other startups that have a few years like in the game. So that's what I think about AgentKit. I'm not, I'm not going to spend a ton more time like showing you a bunch more examples and functionality because I'm, I keep hitting bugs and I'm not going to waste my time. Like I'm going to go back to building like useful things for businesses. So I'd love to know what you guys actually think though. And why is anybody talking about comparing this to N8N? Like this makes no sense. What are we doing, guys? Like we can do better than that. Or you can tell me, Connor, man, go get some more views on your videos and use some clickbait titles because you have no idea what you're talking about. Either way, you know me, I'm going to keep it straight. So hope you guys are building good stuff out there. Talk to you soon.